Good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Ludica Pekina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate articles essential, important, or optional. Please follow along. The articles are at gaiinsights.com/articles. And please tell us what you think as we go along in comments. We try to include the comments of our viewers in the show. All right, today I have Ankash, Adam, and John, and wonderful guest today, Kevin Petrie. Kevin is Vice President of BARC. It's a research, AI and data research firm. And Kevin joins periodically with great insights. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Luda. Thank you, team. Great to be here.
Wonderful. Okay, let's start with the first article, Ankash.
Luda. So the first one that we have for today comes from OpenAI, and they have introduced GPT 5.3 Codex Spark.
Yeah, this one is leveraging the Cerebrus architecture, building on the partnership that they've established earlier in the year. And for the folks who don't know Cerebrus, it's a very different hardware architecture. Everything sits on one wafer, and it's up to 900 core processors. So they minimize the latency and optimize for parallelism. So this is like, I'm really excited about Cerebrus architecture. But Adam, you can tell us more about it, please.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm on the fence, actually, in spite of all the exciting news between optional and important. It's a pretty limited availability right now, in some ways, because Cerebrus that they're partnering with needs time to scale, which in itself might lean me towards important because it's significant news. This is really about OpenAI developing a new model that's fast, smart, but when we say fast, like 1,000 tokens per second versus 50 to 100 for most foundation models. And when you're programming, like you'll see some of the demos on if you go have a look at it, but it is staggering how much faster it is. And I can't even quite think about, and I think over time we will come to understand the significance of this kind of capability and the speed, almost real time with which you can be developing. So the Cerebrus wafer is, as Luda mentioned, it has all of the components on one massive chip, which makes it very low latency, very high speed. You don't have sort of some of the bus and connector issues you have with a more distributed architecture with GPUs and CPUs. And as a result, OpenAI partnering with them and cultivating something that's also then outside of the NVIDIA ecosystem is very smart. And the fact that they've designed, purpose-built, going after this specific thing of the intelligence with speed, and that they've come this far and have this announcement is a pretty big deal, in spite of the fact that very few of us are going to benefit from it in the near term here. I think I'll finalize on important then for it.
Okay. Important from Adam. What did you think, Kevin?
I think important. OpenAI's made a big investment here. Adam summarized very well what they're doing with the Cerebrus integration. It's not GA. It's also, they're trying to play catch up to Anthropic in coding. One might argue they should invest their efforts elsewhere. I'm not sure coding is a place that there's a lot of upside left for them. But yeah, it's important. Once it's GA, maybe it's essential to know that organizations have that option as a stronger alternative, potentially stronger alternative to Anthropic for some use cases.
Yeah. Okay. Ankash, what was your thinking here?
I'm with Adam here, Luda. I think it's a good development. They are trying a different chipset here, which is optimized for inference. But as Adam mentioned, it's not really, it will not really make any difference to our usual workflows. So for that reason, may be important for an AI leader, but not essential.
Okay. But the article doesn't really talk about Cerebrus almost at all, a little bit, right? They talk about.
I think it was just last month, and they referenced the news with Cerebrus from last month. So
yeah, so it's.
I think the point is not to focus too much on that because that wasn't actually even that long ago.
Yeah. So maybe optional, actually. John, you have a deciding vote here.
Yeah, I was going to give it important. I mean, you got the from a retail standpoint, the market leading model, working on a different architecture with great performance. I know it's early days, but I think worth paying attention to. And Kevin, I look at the coding thing a little differently. I think that actually coding isn't, you said that they may not have much market left given Anthropic's, dominance right now, but
Yeah.
I think coding is going to be the new paradigm though. I think coding, the approach to regular work is going to get redesigned with a coding paradigm. So I actually think coding, if you include coding in natural language, is actually going to expand dramatically, and performance is going to be a big issue. It's got a relatively small context window with 256 right now, but the performance of the Cerebras chip is supposed to be phenomenal. So that's going to give it important.
Okay. You all guys are going important, but
Luda,
yeah.
I guess I want to make sure it isn't understated what this 1,000 tokens per second can do. I don't think it may be months still before people even begin to understand, but this could actually be a massive shift in terms of the way software is even thought about developing. When you talk about that idea of basically like disposable apps or on-demand interfaces, like this is what's making that possible. Far beyond sort of the standard inference on LLMs. It's far too bottlenecked to possibly achieve that.
Okay. Well, we're going important, even though the article itself.
I'm totally baffled. I mean, it's absolutely optional. It's R&D. It could be months before this is in. I can't imagine AI leader making a decision. Oh, I need to go buy this product because maybe someday they'll have this unbelievable performance here. So I think lots of trends, and I think we got to remember there's a lot of pressure on OpenAI to get $1 trillion valuation. So all the PR between now and the IPO is going to be in a hype cycle for the retail stock person. And to John's point, we were dealing with major investment firms that have already rolled out ChatGPT and really struggling. Do we also roll out Claude to everybody? And which coding tools do they use?
Yeah, we are taking it as the next step, as the trend, right? And yeah, it's a lot to expect, but this announcement is really limited. It's not even out. It's even not in the preview. And it's only for the paying folks in Codex. And it will also be only for the high-paying subscribers. So I'm sorry, but I'm going optional on this one.
Yeah. But Paul, as a decision rule, just because I can't make a decision on it today doesn't mean it's not important or essential. I mean, as an AI leader, you got to monitor technical trends. You know what I mean?
Right, but it is, John. It is very.
I'm not trying to push that. I'm just saying, when Paul said, "Hey, they're not making a decision on the hardware today," we follow lots of stuff that we don't make decisions on today.
Yeah, that's true. But let's. Okay, so we have a lot of good stuff.
The outcome may be correct, but the reasoning is incorrect.
Okay. All right. Optional it is. Let's proceed.
Okay, moving on to the next one. This one comes from the Harvard Business Review, and it is titled, "To Thrive in the AI Era, Companies Need Agent Managers."
Yeah, I was really excited about this because finally, right, we talk about layoffs, we talk about shifts in labor force, but we know there will be new roles. And this is a very good description of a new role. Kevin, what did you think about this?
Fascinating article, very thoughtful, well done. This article explores the new human role of agent managers that would be responsible for how AI agents learn, work with one another, escalate to humans, which is critical, and help execute on business objectives with much higher levels of productivity. One of the use cases they focus on are sales development representatives at Salesforce who are able to go out and book more intro meetings faster because a lot of that initial outreach is email, and it's pretty tactical stuff. But if you can get more intro sales meetings with humans, you can boost your revenue performance. And they had some, I thought, compelling numbers on that regard. It does describe how there's this ownership shift from IT and data science to line of business leaders who need to figure out how to handle context. That's a term I hear quite a bit in vendor discussions right now because everyone's trying to figure out how to provide context to these agents. I think it's essential. I think it looks at the art of the possible. It's pretty optimistic. I do think I have to wave a couple flags. One is that governance is absolutely critical. These agents can do a lot of things they shouldn't be doing. I still have very rudimentary problems that come back to me from Gen AI models that I use. I think agents need close supervision, and there is an error issue. There's also a data quality issue. That was something that really they didn't get into, but if you're a subject matter expert in a line of business, you need to make darn sure that these agents are correctly reading the data and they're getting clean data. And those complexities or challenges are not mentioned at all, which I think is a little unfortunate. Overall, though, it's an excellent piece. It's an essential look at this emerging role of human agent manager.
Yeah. Okay. So essential from
Essential.
Kevin. Adam.
Was essential. I'm considering dialing it back to important. The fact that it's HBR. The fact
Did I talk
that
you out of it?
No, I don't know. It's the fact that they mentioned Salesforce, JP Morgan Chase, Walmart, all sort of pointing to real legitimate, very, very high visibility corporate enterprise use cases of agentic systems is great. I think I would have liked more around sort of the importance almost of a like, I don't know what it's called. It's the person like an agentic orchestrator or something. This is more in the data. And I think more where I see it going is from the vibe coder to the person that's orchestrating the agents rather than sort of taking the remediation actions. I don't know. Maybe I wanted a little more thought leadership out of it than just this one role. It doesn't quite seem to capture it for me. An important concept, as Luda said, it's important that we start getting visibility into these new roles that are emerging. But I'm not sure it's essential.
Yeah, and maybe I just build on that briefly, which is, Adam, I think the article could have been that much more effective if it had a couple of paragraphs talking about adjacent roles that these folks need to collaborate with effectively. And some of those are more technical roles, among other things.
Yeah. John, what did you think?
Yeah, I was going to give it an essential for the reasons that folks said. I mean, my worry about it is this is very much an advocacy piece. One of the two authors actually runs this part of Salesforce. So, and then the professor who's on it runs the digital lab at HBS. So I wish I could have a two-handed economist instead of a one-handed economist here. You know what I mean? But it's topic, and the folks who are the channel it comes through, the companies are doing it, and this issue of reinventing management, I think, is critical.
And new roles. I mean, Adam, I hear you that this might have not been a great definition, but the roles are emerging and already are in place. We're just hearing of them through for the first time. Paul, we're going, and Ankash, we're going essential.
Yeah, I think two other things I would just essential. There's just a breathtaking gap between most CEOs and executives and what's happening right now. So this is a good forwardability article, and that's in it's Salesforce. It shows humans managing agents, and it's an HBR. I've had 3 executives tell me in the last 2 weeks, agents really aren't being deployed anywhere, are there? And we really need to help leaders help educate their execs, because that's the bottleneck. The bottleneck is not technology for adoption speed; it's executive alignment.
Yeah, and Ashish is commenting that it's the first role we've seen. Yeah, Ashish, it's the first role we've seen defined in HBR. But if you dig into Salesforce, this is not the only one, I'm sure, or into JP Morgan that have emerged and they're already in place. So I think this is a way underrepresented, actually. Okay, essential it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one that we have for today comes from AWS, and it is titled How Link Alpha Assesses Investment Thesis Using Devil's Advocate on Amazon Bedrock.
I think this is John, right? What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, the notion of creating an AI system to be devil's advocate on an investment thesis, I think is conceptually a good thing. I think I was going to give this an optional. It's not that interesting the way they've implemented it. Pope John Paul II changed the role of the devil's advocate. And to give you an idea, he made it easier. Devil's advocate was supposed to argue against making somebody a saint. So for 400 years beforehand, there were only 300 saints made. And since he loosened the criteria, we've had over 500 saints and 1,600 people beatified. So, the point of view, the counterpoint is incredibly valuable. And I think in AI in general, we've had too much sycophancy or whatever, too much agreement with you as the person interacting with it, and too little contention. And so I think the general area is desperately needed in terms of having really good critique and so forth. I don't think that this article, especially on investment theses, I don't think this article does a good job of laying out the argument for it, nor is it a very powerful example. So optional.
Optional from John. What did you think, Ankash?
Option for me as well, Luda. I don't think it lives up to the AWS case study standard, and not a lot here. So I think LLM as a judge is a concept that we have been using for the past 1.5 years now. So nothing new here, to be honest.
Yeah. Adam?
Agreed.
Okay. Kevin, we are going optional unless you want to add something.
I'll just add, I agree, optional. As I was reading it, I was thinking, couldn't a smart investment banker simply sit down with ChatGPT or Anthropic or Perplexity and do the same darn thing? Why do you need the extra software?
Yeah, and I have a very similar screener for startups as a custom bot. So it's a very simple thing to create. This is like very elaborate, and the end result is not very strong. So I think optional it is. Okay, Paul, going optional. Optional.
I think Paul had to board his airplane. I know he's going down to Arizona today.
It was in the airport, right? Okay, optional it is. Let's proceed to the next one. Ankash, please.
Yes, the next one comes from Ali Ansari, and he talks about the execution gap in enterprise AI.
Yes, Kevin, this is quite a topic that we've been hearing about. It's actually improving. What do you think about this article?
I thought this was interesting. Had some interesting points. The idea is that enterprise agents get stuck in pilot mode. They don't get into production. We certainly know that. And I think they cited the inevitable MIT case study that seems obligatory despite the challenging research methods of that. So they're saying you need an architecture that'll bring together your inference infrastructure and that you'll have contextual and workflow grounded evaluations. Yeah, all good stuff. As it happens, the co-author has a tool, some software to address exactly that problem. So it is promotional in that regard. Overall, I think optional. I'm not sure there was a lot new there. We've known that agent evaluations matter, and it certainly explores the topic, but it's not a new idea.
Yeah, it's a little shallow. Okay, Adam, what did you think?
Yeah, agreed. Optional. It was kind of a long-winded way of telling us what we already know about the importance of evaluations.
But no structure, right? It doesn't really provide that much advice of what to do. Ankash, what do you think?
Anyone hearing Ankash?
Must be on mute.
Okay.
You're muted, Ankash.
Sorry, option from me as well, Luda.
Okay. John, we're going optional. Optional it is.
Okay, moving on to the next one. This one.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Luda. Please go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
This one comes from the Wall Street Journal, and it is titled "When AI Bots Start Pulling Humans, Even Silicon Valley Gets Rattled."
Yeah, and when somebody gets waking up, gets an article in the mail or whatever, that's not good. All right, what did you think about this one, Adam?
Wow. First of all, Wall Street Journal. It's a sensationalist headline. I almost want to keep it at important, not essential, because it's playing a little too much into the sensationalism of it. Which is unfortunate because beyond the headline story, which is basically an agent that got its fix to some code rejected, and then wrote this big blog accusing the developer of hypocrisy. And sort of the emotional play of what happens when these agents are threatening us, and sort of that's kind of stuff. The article actually gets into some really valid concerns about what's going on in the space. Mostly what I took away from it that's really key is this concept around the future already being here, and the number of AI leaders that are saying right now what a shocking percentage of the knowledge work, the wins work is going to go, and quicker and quicker all the time. And I think there's a shock that needs to happen, but it's not because an agent wrote a blog. That's not really the thing that I would want people to take away from this. And for that reason, I think they led with the wrong headline and sort of played into the wrong emotions. And so I left it at important, not essential. But there's some very, very important points made in here.
Okay. John, what were your thoughts? There's lots of sightings of people quitting OpenAI and Anthropic. We've reviewed those, and they kind of put it all into this scary thing that's happening. What did you think?
Yeah, I had it more optional. I didn't find it that convincing about, what great agents, that are not, as Kevin said earlier, that are not well governed. Yes, we'll go out and do stuff. The idea of, figuring out what this means for, individuals interacting with these things. I think that's just gonna, we're gonna continue to see more and more of this kind of activity. It is an important area. I think is kind of a clickbait kind of article, so I was going to give it an optional.
Okay, Kevin, what were your thoughts?
I would say important. I think the governance concern with agents is significant. My colleague Sean here recently was speaking with a major financial institution, and they said, well, we're still trying to get around how many agents we have and what they're doing. And they said a little sheepishly, they have 20,000 agents in their enterprise, and they don't know what those agents are doing, who created them. So there's a significant problem. Yes, it's wonderful to empower business people to create personal assistants, but the idea of having this massive shadow IT, now shadow AI problem, that's a significant challenge. And I think that's going to create a lot of headaches in the coming year. And I think the idea that a bot could show that kind of initiative to create a problem, I think is significant and warrants examination by the data and AI leader. So I would say important.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it is actually essential. The risk of agents being on the loose is critical, and people are just not necessarily aware that this is the case. Ankash, you have a last vote. What do you think?
I was essential on this one, Luda. I know it's a sensationalist article, but I think it highlights some of the problems that we'll be facing in the next, let's say, 6 months or 12 months, right? So a lot of people are experimenting with OpenClaw, and we have heard reports that over 1 million API keys were leaked because they were not able to secure this. And as we just discussed, that people do not essentially know how to secure these agents, and they are just interested in exploring them, learning them, and it will create a lot of shadow IT problems, as we just discussed. So I think AI leaders need to know about this, even while these are very small occurrences, but they can quickly face these in their own enterprises if they are not focusing on the security aspects or helping their sort of employees use sandboxes to experiment or virtual environments to experiment. So for that reason, I think this is an essential read.
And
I would actually say, yeah, I'm going to change my vote to essential. I think Luda and Ankash articulated this one.
Thank you, Kevin, because I was listening to this and thinking, Ashish is a very experienced developer, and even he got hit yesterday not thinking about the power of the agents.
Yeah.
And now he's thinking, I need to set a new structure behind them to make sure that if they go off rails, what would happen. So absolutely.
I hear you. I'm moving up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Essential it is.
All right.
All right. Let's proceed to the next one. Talked ourselves up to essential.
Great. The next one comes from OpenAI and OpenClaw, and OpenClaw's founder, Peter Steinberger, is joining OpenAI.
Very cool news that will shape OpenAI next steps to a large extent. What did you think about this, Ankash?
I think this is an essential news, Luda. So we were just discussing about OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw is famous right now because of the personal agents, because of the autonomous nature of their agents, because those are proactive agents, right? We know OpenAI, they are more into the personal side of things from a user perspective rather than the enterprise side of things. So this acquisition will help them do more sort of on the personal side of things with their users, the 800 million users that they have, so that they can build their own personal agents, work with them, have them running 24/7. And it raises some important questions as well. Right now, OpenClaw was mostly working on Claude code or Opus 4.5 or 4.6. So, what will be Anthropic's reaction to this particular news? It is using other underlying models as well. So, while OpenAI has said that they will keep this open source, but we know OpenAI converted a non-profit entity to a for-profit entity. So, how will that work with OpenClaw? The founder is saying on X that he has it written in the document that they will not make it closed source, but we will see that. So lots of open questions, lots of interesting implications for OpenAI as well, and for other model providers as well. So for that reason, I think an essential news.
Okay, Adam, would you join Ankash in essential?
1000%. You do not want to be the AI leader who doesn't know this news, who doesn't know who Peter is, who doesn't know what OpenClaw is. You don't want to be that AI leader right now.
Okay.
You want to be an AI leader who understands that autonomous agents are being developed by individuals to the scale that OpenAI is buying them. Like that the whole market in some ways is getting turned absolutely on its head right now by vibe coding. I mean, you could debate that what Peter's done here is the first like one person unicorn. He effectively by himself started a business that debatably could be valued at $1 billion. It's unbelievable.
I hope he got the adequate salary for that.
I mean, he had $100 million from a company he exited 10 years ago. He isn't concerned about the money.
He's not going to miss any meals.
I'm sure he likes it, but he's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin, you agree?
Yeah, essential is good.
Okay. John, we're going essential. Anything to add?
I'm just amazed that, well, I think it's interesting if you look at his announcement. He thanked a bunch of other leaders, not by name, but so I bet he went around all the major folks and they're begging to get him to join. I tell you, Sam Altman must be one heck of a salesperson, because for him to believe that Sam's going to keep this not-for-profit after Sam's behavior is, God love him. Sam must be able to sell snow to the Eskimos, as they say.
Oh yeah, he's selling a pretty bad balance sheet right now. Successfully.
That's amazing.
God love them. I mean, if you look at behavior, the only company that's let the researchers stay researchers have been Microsoft and Google. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but whatever.
Yeah.
And sorry, just real quick to Ankash's comment about Anthropic's position with OpenClaw. I think it's mostly just that it performs best with Anthropic right now. It's not that people are necessarily using that by default, or that it's a preferred model, other than right now it's the best balance between being able to harness but also be able to code and think on its own.
Yeah, because they integrated Ralph into the fiber Claude code, right? So that they can
Ralph Wiggum being those autonomous loops, so it
they
continue
can,
long
they
running.
can, yeah.
I had Claude code run for almost an hour today with 11 sub agents.
Yeah.
Just on its own.
Okay. We are at the top of the hour. Let's prepare the scorecard. Anybody? Announcements? John?
Nope.
Okay. We have 3 essentials and 3 optionals. We were good today, weren't we? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Kevin, for joining. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for commenting. We also appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Great. Thank you.